Hello, participants. I'm Simon, your host for today's webinar. We are waiting for other participants to join. So you can just, in meantime, you can explore synergetic. Hello, everyone. I'm Siley. I hope I'm audible to you. Please give me a yes or thumbs up if I'm audible to you. Okay, thanks, Abhishek. What I was saying, that we are waiting another 5 or 10 minutes for other participants to join. So we'll start around 6:05 or 6:10 p.m. And in meantime, you can just explore Synergetics social media platform. I have just dropped all the URLs in the chat box. Please go and check out. Rajiv, we have not started yet. We are waiting 5 another minutes for other participants. Okay. Okay, we will start the session now, and other participants can join simultaneously. So before we begin, just give me a thumbs up if my screen is visible to you. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Now we are starting with the session. Firstly, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar. Well, before we begin, I'd like to expand a warm welcome to our esteemed speaker, Mr. Navjoti sir, and to all of you, our valued participants. Well, I'm glad to welcome you all in this exciting learning session on Introduction to Prompt Engineering. We are delighted to have all of you here today for this insightful event. Well, this event is part of Advantage India Skilling, that is AI NSI initiative by Microsoft, a Microsoft backed initiative by AI NSI to help people learn AI skills. It covered important topics like data and AI, Copilot 365, and GHCP, prompt engineering, and security, focusing on AI's role in skill development and digital growth. If you'd like to join, connect with us. Also, anyone who wants to organize these exclusive sessions in your organization or colleges, please do let us know as these sessions are absolutely free. Today's event is also organized by Synergetics on behalf of Microsoft. So, I'd like to introduce you to the Synergetics in the short. So, Synergetics are committed to providing high quality learning solutions and cloud consulting services with over 30 plus years of expertise. They have also been instrumental in helping businesses and professionals to stay ahead in the tech landscape. Well, these are some master solutions that Synergetics provide, that is persona-based onboarding, onboarding add-on, certification add-on, reskilling, emerging technology training, certification hackathon, cloud adoption, latest technology training, sales, resales training, practice playbook, and architecting. This will be your ultimate skilling journey. First, you'll start by enrolling in fundamental level, where you'll build a rock solid foundation by mastering the basics. And then you have got that covered. You'll advance to the role based learning, diving deeper into the specialized skilling. And finally, you'll reach the expert level, where you'll gain cutting edge knowledge and hands on expertise to stand out in the world of AI. Well, step by step, you'll level up, unlocking new opportunities and paving the way for an exciting future. Well, Mr. Navjoti will conduct today's session. He has 15 plus years of experience in software development, consulting, and architecting. He is currently working on the Microsoft Cloud platform in the field of AI and applications. He is a Microsoft certified trainer too, and also currently working with Synergetics as AVP Technology. Here's what we have planned for the day. As you can see on my screen, this session will be packed with valuable insights, and by the end of the day, you'll confidently craft and optimize prompts to unlock the full potential of AI models. Well, before we proceed, a quick reminder about our code of conduct. So, firstly, be respectful to all the participants and speakers. Avoid taking unauthorized photos and screenshot or screen recording of the presentation. And lastly, keep a professional and inclusive environment throughout the session. Well, your journey matters to us, definitely. As you explore, learn, and grow, we encourage you to share your learning experience with community. Whether it's a personal breakout or a project you have built using AI, or how this training helped in your career, your story can inspire others to start their journey in AI from scratch. What you have to do is share your learning experience by writing a LinkedIn post and tag us, or record a short video sharing your LinkedIn, sharing your learning journey, and the best stories will be featured across our platforms. Well, talking about the technology, it is evolving faster than ever, and artificial intelligence is at heart of this transformation, definitely. To help us all upskill and stay ahead, Microsoft is introducing an incredible campaign that is AI Faced Skills. This is not just an event, it's a movement for all of us, a chance to learn, grow, and even break records together. This campaign will start from April 8th to May 28, 2025. And guess what? You are not alone in this journey. Thousands of learners and professionals will be joining in it. Well, stay connected with us, follow us on our social media platforms, and join our meetup communities to stay updated on upcoming webinars, exclusive offer, and exciting meetups. Well, without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Navjoti Barua, who will conduct this session and who will take us through today's session on Introduction to Prompt Engineering. So sit back, take notes, and enjoy this enriching learning experience. Thank you everyone for listening to me, and thank you everyone for your patience. Just attend this session till end, as you'll gain next level knowledge and your basics will be clear in this session. Over to you, Navjoti sir.
Yeah, thank you for introducing me for this particular session. So let me share my screen. Okay. So good evening to everyone. So hope I'm audible to you and hope you can see the PPT. All right. Thank you, Jaideep, for acknowledging. All right. So let me set the context what we are going to do. As you can see on the screen, so it is all about generative AI essentials with the prompt engineering. Now, AI is not something new for all of us, but there are a lot of happening in the field of AI, the ecosystem of AI. A lot of lately new things has happened. The generative AI is one of them. And today's session is going to give you insight to the generative AI and focusing on how we can take advantage of the generative AI by writing prompt. So that is something what we are going to discuss. in a very short period of webinar that we are arranging for you all. So feel free to ask questions if you have any during the session. So you can drop your questions to the team chat. So periodically I'll be keep looking at the team, and I will be able to address to your questions if you have any questions in between. Okay, so how we are going to kind of going to go with this particular session. The number one, we'll talk about quick introduction to the generative AI, then we'll go into the underlying technologies for the generative AI. This is primarily the models, generative AI model. Then we must understand that where the generative AI will be fit in, like what kind of task that we can delegate it to the generative AI, what would be the use cases. So we are going to discuss that. And then we'll go and take a look about the prompt engineering. And finally, we'll end this session with a bit of responsible AI and ethical use of generative AI, because we know that generative AI, in any case of AI, can be used positively or negatively. So how we can eliminate the negative thoughts that can be infused to the AI system, right? So that is also equally important. So that is going to be discussed a bit from the responsible AI and ethical use. So let's get started with introduction to the generative AI. Now, before we get into the generative AI, so what is artificial intelligence? So I don't have to give a definition to the artificial intelligence to all of you. So you must be knowing the definitions, or you must be using the artificial intelligence every now and then. But tomorrow, if you have to build a system on your own, then what are the things that you need to know? We are not here to build our system, developing or writing code or something like that. But we are here to understand the technologies and their terminology and how this technology can be used in our day-to-day job, that we can enhance the productivities by using AI as an assistant going forward. That is the objective that I'm driving through this particular session. So let's get back to the discussion. So what is artificial intelligence? In a layman way, that the human task now can be done by the application, done by a system, which is built by you only. So you build a system, you build an applications that you can delegate your task to your application, to your system. Like you can predict about your business. You can do the sales forecasting. You can analyze a text. If somebody is writing a review of a particular product, with the help of AI, we can analyze that review, whether it review is positive or negatives. We can extract the key phrases or talking point from the written text. We can identify human face from a photos, from a live cameras. And there are a lot of applications that you have seen or you have come across today, which is driven by artificial intelligence, like one of the most popular applications like Dizzy Yatra. So today you don't have to carry your boarding pass or a passport to get into the airport when you want to board a flight. So you just need to stand in front of the camera. So camera can recognize you, who you are and where you are traveling to, or from where you are traveling. So this is something, is an application of artificial intelligence. So it's a happening every now and then, identifying object from an image, right? So identifying object from a videos, the live videos, live cameras, detecting any incidents, reacting to that particular incidents, automating the entire process. Is all is driven by AI. Getting into the robotics, the entire factory can run by the AI with the robots without a human being. So we can go on and on. The field of artificial intelligence is really big and robust, right? So to do all kind of tasks that I'm talking about at this moment. But who does this kind of task? The human task is being delegated to the AI. So what is the underlying ecosystem? So one of them is machine learning. So machine learning is a subset of an AI through which you can train a model by providing the data to learn from, like human learn. So as we are a human, I can learn by reading a book. I can learn by attending a particular training. I can learn something by doing on my own. So there may be a different source of learning. But once you have learned, you will be able to answer. You will be able to do the same thing based on what you have learned. Like the machine also can learn from the data. You can give data, whether it is a historic data or a real time data, using algorithms from the machine learning. They can learn from the data and eventually they can train, the machine learning tool can train a models, the ML models. The models are brain of the artificial intelligence, like human brain through which we can do our task. So model is equivalent to the human brain because model is being trained artificially. And that's how it is called as an artificial intelligence. There is no life into it, but it is exactly does how human does. Sometimes machine learning may not be capable of reading from the complex data, reading from the huge amount of data. So in that case, the machine learning can be extended to the deep learning. So in deep learning, the learning is done by using artificial neural network, like human use neuron to learn within the brain, so similar kind of the techniques or maybe architects are that is being used artificially, that is being built artificially, and that is called artificial neural network, and that is being used to learn from the huge corpus of data, from the complex set of data. But it's still a part of the machine learning because deep learning also learn on their own by using algorithms. There are different type of learning altogether, but we'll not go into the detail of the data science here. So we are here to just to understand the terminology while we are getting into the field of artificial intelligence. But today we are here not to talk about deep learning and machine learning. Today we are here to talk about generative AI, which is the talking point. So traditional AI and generative AI. So innovation of the generative AI has happened some time back. Although it may happen sometime in 2014 and then 2017 from where the generative AI got the momentum. Once a team from the Google has created a architecture called Transformer, and from then the momentum of generative AI has speed up, so today we are using generative AI in every aspect of our life. And we are going to see it, we are going to explain. Now, what is the generative AI and how it is different from the traditional AI? As I said, the traditional AI is capable of doing all kind of tasks that I talked about. Analyzing, classifications, predicting, forecasting, identifications, detectings, all kind of stuff that can do. But generative AI is capable of doing whatever it is being done in the traditional AI, plus generative AI is capable of generate the new content, create a new content. You can go to an AI and ask, write an application for me for this subject, write a letter for me, write an email for me, write a blog for me. So generative AI can do it. In fact, not only the text, you can generate the code also for the developers. Suppose you can go and ask generative AI model to write a Python code to do something. So it essentially we have to go and tell the generative AI what I want to generate. what I want to create. So it could be a text, it could be a code, it could be an image, it could be videos, it could be music, it could be audios. All different kind of content can be created by writing the prompt. The prompt that we talked about as an input text will go to the generative AI models. Like deep learning model, machine learning model, generative AI is also going to give us a set of pre-trained model. We can also do our own, right? But here we are going to use the pre-trained model, the model which is already being trained by different vendors altogether. So we'll talk about what are the most um, popular vendors at this moment. So who talks about who has trained generative AI models and made available for us, and we can consume those models anytime from now. But going a bit inside in context of understanding the traditional models and the generative AI model, as you can see on the screen, so these are the different tasks that can be performed with the help of, right? These are the different tasks that I was just explaining some time back, but this is being done by using a particular model, which is trained using the machine learning or deep learning, right? And that is being backed by the set of data. So the only problem here is that every task you will have a one model. So if we move from one task to another task, you have to get another model. So it means, as you can see, for every single task, there would be an independent models. And those model can be consumed from the different applications today to enhance the productivity for those consumer of those product, that they can use this model as an assistant to do the job in a day-to-day basis. But what changes is being brought into the AI by using generative AI models? So here it is goes something like this. So it says you are going to model, we are going to train a model for once for all on a huge corpus of different format of data. So text, image, speech, structured data, 3D signals, all can be collectively trained by using a transformer architecture. As I said, in the year 2017, that architecture has popped in from a team from Google who has actually innovated this architecture, who has discovered this architecture that is being applied to learn from the data. Making no mistake, they can produce the new content along with what is being done before. So it is not only keeping those tasks, beyond this, this model is capable of generating the text, code, videos, image, and music also. So essentially, the field of generative AI, the model from the generative AI, these are also deep learning models, because transformer architecture is nothing but the artificial neural network. So using that artificial neural network, all kinds of data is being trained, and eventually we got that models. And we are not naming the models, then the model name would be different eventually based on the vendors who has trained that kind of model. But we are trying to figure out how this model look like and what is the capability of the model. So model capability has extended to a single type of task, to a multitasking. The adaptability of the model has enhanced, that they can do, one model can deliver multiple tasks in one way. Right? So here we go with not only kind of the traditional task, which is already being done by the traditional model, but the model that we are referring at this moment is a very, very robust, very powerful, In fact, the training of this model takes month and month. It takes a lot of underlying hardwares like TPU and GPU to train that kind of uh, computing a task like. So it's not easy to kind of train that kind of models, what we are referring to at this moment. Okay, so this is what we can quickly understand the difference between the traditional and the generative AI model. So that's why the generative AI model become more powerful and the more innovative. The people are talking about generative AI every now and then. So let us look at what possibly we can do, just to give you a quick, a kind of insight that you will be able to anticipate the what this model is capable of doing. So if you look into the, before we go into that, one more models that people talks about today is LLM, that is large language model, which is again a very popular model, is a type of the foundation models. It is coming under the generative AI model. And this model is capable of bringing human more closer to the AI system. Like you can do the conversation with the AI with your own language. You can use a natural language like how we talk to our colleagues, how we talk to our friend. The similar language we can use to communicate, to converse with this model. Model will be able to generate accordingly. And it is not only, as I say, the one language the model will understand. So any language that you want to communicate with the model, model will understand as long as the model knows those languages. So the specifications from the model, you will get to know how many languages the model will know. So accordingly, you can go and use to interact with the model with that particular language. And this is being driven by NLP, that is natural language processing, that is always there in the artificial intelligence, that allow us to interact with a model using natural language, or we can speak to the models. Model also understand what is being spoken by somebody. The speaking instruction that you are giving to the model, writing instruction that you are giving to the model, both is understood by NLP based a model. But it is primarily designed to do for the conversations, input text and output text. Your input also goes as a text, output also coming as a text. Primarily LLM are designed for conversational AI, like what we call as a chat bot for your own kind of domain. Like, so every business domain will have their own chatbot. So behind the chatbot, you can make use of the LLM, that you can start doing conversations with your LLM by having your own interface where we can go and write the prompt, where we can ask questions, and then based on that, you get responses. So LLM is capable of doing multitasking, like, it can do sentiment analysis, summarization of a text, language translations, writing different kind of or creating different kind of content, and it could be aligned to a specific domain also. It can be aligned to the banking, it could be aligned to a kind of insurance, it could be aligned to a retail, it could be aligned to some other the business domain also. Right, so we will look into that, but these are the model at this moment. We are going to work with pre-train. Pre-train means we are not going to train this model with our own data. So we are going to have a set of pre-trained models, and those model we are going to interact with. We are going to write prompt. The model is going to respond to the prompt. That is something that we are planning for this particular session. And we are going to learn how to write an effective prompt. And that is all about prompt engineering. So we'll have an introduction to the prompt engineering along with the models that we are looking at this moment. But to get an idea of what I'm talking about, so I'll just walk you through a few of examples that you can anticipate what I'm talking about. So I have been saying generating text. So here is a prompt. Write an email to an airline's customer support for refund of my ticket for delaying flight. That is the prompt we have given to the model called GPT-4, generative pre-trained transformer. All right, so this is trained by the OpenAI. OpenAI is a vendor which is pioneer in the field of generative AI. Okay, you must be heard about the OpenAI, who has come across, who has trained multiple models. It is not the only one models. For example, I am bringing one of the model from the model list. There are many models that is being trained by the OpenAI to do different tasks altogether. But this model is capable of doing multitask. Okay, so GPT-4 can be used to generate any type of content based on the prompt that we are writing. So this is the input and this is the response. Then going into another model called DALI, this is also being trained by the OpenAI. But the task of the DALI is different from the GPT-4. DALI is designed to generate the image from a given text. So in the text, that is the prompt that you would be writing. And that prompt will take you to this response. If you write the prompts one more time, you are going to get another image. It will try to improvise the existing image, try to fine tune the existing image every time you are writing the same prompt. Because as I said before, the model is capable of generating original content every time, which you cannot find anywhere on the internet. It is generated by the AI. It is generated then and there, based on the prompt. If you tweak the prompt, the image will change. That is the explanation of the image generated by DAL-E model. So like that, you have a model like embedding. Embedding model is capable of translating your text into a numbers as a vectors. We don't need to know that because I'm just telling that, so there are different models. So there is a model to generate audio from a given text. Okay. So like that, most interesting one, this is the model. It is like a assistant. The people may be, knowing about this assistant called GitHub Copilot, because this is an assistant to the developers. We can plug in into the dev environment like Visual Studio Code or Eclipse, where you can take help from the GitHub Copilot to generate the code by writing the prompt. You can see that I said write a Python script to calculate the Fibonacci sequence up to 10th numbers. And this is what is being generated by GitHub Copilot, which is backed by the generative AI model. These are all model driven activities. What we are talking about, all is being controlled, all is being done through a prompt that you are going to write, and you are going to see the response accordingly. So these are the flat prompt that we are writing at this moment, but how to write this prompt also a subject that we need to learn, and that is what keep repeatedly we are talking about the prompt engineering. But before that, we just need to go and understand the ecosystem. So here is another model that is also trained by the OpenAI. Sora is a model which is trained by the OpenAI through which we can create videos. So this prompt will generate this videos, right? So it is all about the kind of narratives that you are giving to that particular models, and subsequently the model will go and generate these videos. It's a very short videos, but it's a videos that is generated by the model called Sora from the prompt that you can see right below. So this would be amazing for the content creators, the like the people who are in kind of customer facing and doing marketing of this particular for their product. It would be kind of really good to see this kind of artifacts that can be created by the models without deploying any people specifically to generate those multimedia kind of the content, and that is being generated by the model. Only you just need to identify the models who possibly can do the task that I'm talking about. So I have been kind of explaining the different model altogether. Depends on what kind of task that I want to perform. Right from the text to the code, code to the image, and image to the videos. So having said that, as I said, now where do I find those models? Although I'm just specifically going after a couple of models, but where do I find the complete ecosystem of the model? As I said, this model that I'm talking about is a pre-trained models. Okay, so pre-training means we are not supposed to train. As I said in machine learning and deep learning, we have to train a model on our own. But here we are not training any models. So we supposed to go and identify a model from a model catalog and use the model by writing a prompt. That's it, what we are going to do. So you're not supposed to train a model for your own, because training a model is not an easy task. It cannot be done by the organization also, because there would be a huge investment that you have to make for the infrastructure where you can train a generative AI model. Right. So at this moment, you can always go and fine tune those models. You can go and, tweak that models to make the model understand to your own business domain, because that model may not be knowing the informations which is private to your organization, because this model was trained on the public data which is available on the internet, Wikipedia's. Right. So this model may not be aware of the private data, private information of your organizations that you belongs to. So if you want your model to know about your private informations, you can retrain the model. This is called fine tuning of the model by providing your data. Or there is another technique that we can use, something called retrieval augmented generations, RAG. By providing the data to the model is going to consider those data, the private data, while the model will craft a response for you. Okay. So this is what you can see collectively. As I said, the list of the vendors, OpenAI, I keep talking about the OpenAI. So GPT is one of the most popular models. Like you might be knowing a product called Chat GPTs the people have been using so far, and it has come from the OpenAI, that you get it for free. So you can enroll for free, but you can enroll for GPT Plus also to get access to the latest models, more powerful model, but you can still go and generate content, create content by using the free models that is coming through a Chat GPT product. So that is being created, that is being developed by the OpenAI. But along with the OpenAI, so you can see the list of the vendor, right from Anthropic's Google, Meta, which is formerly known as a Facebook, Microsoft. We are going to use Microsoft ecosystem, the model ecosystem, to kind of use it. Uh, because this is the session for from the Microsoft. So we are going to use the Microsoft cloud platforms to make use of the model which is made available at this moment. So Amazon XAI from the Elon Musk, that is Grok, and then the rest of the model like DeepSeek, one of the popular models recently that has happened. So one of the strong models that has come into the forefront to give the competitions to the rest of the world. So but yes, I mean, it doesn't matter like what models, which vendor that you are getting on. So eventually you'll be evaluating those models which is fit into your requirement. Not necessarily it will come from only one vendors, it can come from a multiple vendors, but you have to go back and evaluate the right model that you can consume for your task that you are doing in a day-to-day basis, that you can get assistant. As I said, you cannot bank on 100% on the AI any given point in time. You have to proof the content that is generated by AI. So human loop would be always there. It is not completely handing over everything to the AI. You cannot take your code to the productions which is generated by AI as of today. So human is always needed there. Human is going to evaluate what is the content is being generated, so you can tweak the contents, and you can publish or you can send it to the customers and your or maybe your production environment. Okay, so let me see a few things now. The one more thing that we need to know, there is a concept called token in the field of generative AI. So what it does, so it uh, see, as I said, when I say hello to the generative AI model, so hello is a one word. For generative AI model, it's called one token. So number of text or number of word that I use in my input, number of word that is being used in the response that is generated by generative AI, all would be counted as a number of token. The token which LLM understand that get processed in order to give us the response. So how many token that we consume in a conversation or in my rest of the conversation that collectively counted at the end of the day? For example, I have to pay $10 for using 10 million tokens. You can also do the restrictions that how many token that you want to consume in a particular conversation. What would be the max limit of token that you want to consume in a conversation? Because if you give a free hand to the model will keep generating according to their own understanding. But you can control that response saying that, yes, I would like to restrict the response within 400 token. So token is the smallest unit of processing of your informations, of your prompt, of your response that is being uh, or that is typically accounted by the whole conversations that we do with LLM. So LLM understands every input by converting them into a token, every response by converting them into a token, and they count the number of token they process in a particular conversations, which is always being associated with the model pricing. So how we are going to pay for the model once you consume the model from our application? Because model can be accessed through an API, and that is precisely what we are going to do now. So these are the information, the insight. We talk about the two topic in the agenda. First, introduction to the generative AI. The second, the models of the generative AI. Now we are going to explore practically where do I find the model. As I said, we'll go into the Microsoft cloud platforms and we'll take a look the list of the models and how we can make use of the model. And then we'll talk about how to write the effective prompt to get maximum out of the model. And that is where we are going to go to a demo by using Azure OpenAI service. So Azure OpenAI service is an API that connects us to a particular model, because model can be published through an API. Model can be published as an API. So my application can consume that API to get access to a model. And that is precisely we are going to do from the Microsoft Azure cloud platform. So two things, we are going to create an OpenAI service. Then we are going to deploy the model that I'm going to use in my conversation. Conversation means I'm going to write the prompt and the model through the API is going to bring the response to the prompt that I have written at real time. So before I go to demo, so if you have any questions from the previous discussion that we have, feel free to write your questions, put your question in the team chat. Otherwise, I'm assume that so you're all okay with what we have discussed in the sections before I go to the demo. So I will take you to my machines here. Just a minute where I can do the demo. Is these tools are free or paid? Is fully yeah, Pradeep. So we are going to use the paid tool because we will be using Microsoft Azure. So it is a paid one, but you can get it free from the OpenAI also. So, but here we are focusing on the why we are focusing Microsoft Azure, because Microsoft Azure will give us the complete enterprise environment to develop the AI system. Unlike just making an API call and getting a model for your one. So is there any student value pack also in Microsoft? Yes, you can open Microsoft Azure account as a student. Student account option is there. You can find in Google how to create a free account for the students. You can always do that. You will get access to the OpenAI model and you can test it with the ready-made playground, or we can develop application also. Yes. Okay, so what we are going to do now, I will get access to my Azure environment, then I am going to deploy the model. But before I deploy the model, I have to create an API, because through API only we can get access to the model. So that step that I am going to follow is right in front of you. It's a pretty simple one. So if you get access to the Microsoft Azure portal anytime, you can also do the same. So I'll go to browser first and open my portal by going into portal.azure.com. So here I will go to the all service. I'll go to the category called AI plus machine learning. This is where I can find a service called Azure OpenAI service. That is an API. I will go and create the service under my subscription. If you are a student, you can also look for how to create an Azure subscription as a student, as a free subscription. But when you walk in an Azure, you have to first create a resource group. So I can say demo resource group, and then I can go and select a region where I want to create this API, because this is a cloud platform, so it is not physically available with me. So I have to select a data center to get access to the infrastructure where I can go and deploy my resources. So I'm deploying the OpenAI service by connecting to the EasyOS 2 data center. I'm giving a name of my OpenAI service. Okay, so unique name that I'm giving it. And there is a pricing tier. You can also see how you are going to pay for this particular service. You don't pay for the service, but you pay for the model that you are going to use. Suppose I'm going to use GPT-4, right? So you can see that GPT-4o model, suppose that I'm going to use, which is available on Microsoft Azure. So it says the 1 million token that is going to give for all the input text to the model would be charged in $2.50 for 1 million token. So 1 million token for an output is going to charge for, it's a different pricing models, but collectively, if you see that, it is all about token. The number of token that you have consumed, accordingly, you are going to charge the based on the model. So there are different models. You see the list of the models available out there, right? So these are different models. So this is one models. So starting with the GPT, it's the latest one, GPT 4.5. So GPT 4.5 reviews the latest general purpose model that with the deep world knowledge and better understanding of user intent that makes it good at creative task and agentic plannings and so on and so forth. All right, so that is the latest one that you can see. But below that you have reasoning model series, complex task. So how you pay? So it is pretty expensive in compared to the model that I was looking for. Right? So you can see that it's pretty expensive, this model at this moment. Okay, so this is a kind of quick insight because it is not free. You have to pay for this model, but they're always being paid by calculating the number of token that you have consumed in the conversations with that particular model. So let me go and create this service. Then we'll go and deploy the one of the model from the model catalog behind the service that I can consume the model through the service, through the API. It is not the same. You have to pay from the OpenAI also, Jaydeep. It's not only you will pay the lower model that you will GPT, you will get the lower GPT 3.5 as a free, GPT 4 as a free. So you're not going to get an advanced model for free. Okay, so for the commercial purpose, they are making a free product, but through free product, you will get access to the old model, not the latest model. So in OpenAI also, this is called GPT Plus subscription that you have to buy if you want to access the model. Okay, so remember that. So your complex or your maybe reasoning will not be powerful by using a free models from the OpenAI. So hope you got it. So OpenAI also have the subscription base that is typically $20 per month that you have to pay with the unlimited access of those models. The latest model they introduce every now and then. Okay, so you and you don't get the other things like how in the Azure it is not about accessing the models. You are going to access the model in a protective environment. It is your own infrastructure in your own network, right? The securities from the enterprise governance, everything you get on the Azure, which is not you get in the OpenAI, because OpenAI is not a cloud platform. It is just an API. You are making a call. So your data will go to the OpenAI. If you want to kind of send the data to do the fine tuning and all. Okay. So this is not kind of enterprise security based platforms where you can develop enterprise AI application until you get onto the system like Google or AWS or Azure. GCP, AWS, and Azure Cloud Platform is going to give you a enterprise environment with all the security and compliance to run your AI system, to run your AI application. Okay, so we go there and then we see this. This is the OpenAI service that we have created. Now we can go to the AI Foundry. That is the playground because we are not here to develop our own application. So we need ready-made applications to test the model by deploying the model. So here is AI Foundry portal is out of the box portal coming from the Microsoft. You will get in OpenAI also, but you have to pay for that to access the key of the API. So there also you have to make a payment. So if you have to build your own application, so it is not free. Only the Chat GPT, the free version that you get with some limited models, some old models. If you have to develop your own applications, so you have to pay for the key from the OpenAI also, like what currently we are in this playground. Okay. So everywhere you have to pay. So nothing is free. So whatever the free is that you won't be able to use in production or you won't be able to get an intensive content from the free product. Whoever is giving a free product. Okay. So in fact, today the free product is coming from the DeepSeek also, from the Grok also. So these are the product. But this is something when you go and basically get an API for using your own context and then you have to pay for that. Okay, so now I'm in the playground. Okay, so when I get into the playground, I don't see a model here. So I have to deploy the model. So how do I go and deploy a model? So I'll go to the model catalog first. There is a model catalog link on the top. And it will display the list of model that I can deploy behind the OpenAI service. So you can see there are 27 models in that particular list. Right? So I can go and filter the models by the kind of task that I want to implement. Suppose I want to create some kind of chat bot So this is the task. The chat completion would be the task that we can do. We can implement something like conversational AI. So we can start doing the conversation with one of the models. So every model is followed by the chat completions that you can see out here. So this is the latest model, which is very expensive out there, who will give you the most reasoning power that is behind that. But this model is not available in that particular region that I have created the OpenAI. So I will go with the very moderate models, which is not very high level, which is not low also, because these are 3.5s. So above the 3.5, you get the GPT-4. Now this model is okay. So I'll go with this model. So that is GPT-4 that I'll deploy that. So there is an options of deploy. You can go and take a look what this model can do, the specification of the models, the history of the model, how this model has evolved over a period of time. But I'm trying to deploy the GPT-4 that I can do the conversation with that particular model. So GPT-4 model is not available in this particular locations. I can try with some other model also, maybe. So that's fine. So it will go and create another service. That is absolutely okay. I can customize also here because this is given me a central Sweden, because these are the only option I have at this moment where I can deploy the model. So EastUS2, I'm having no quota at this moment. So that's fine. So I can deploy anywhere globally, wherever I want. And that's why the Azure is very interesting, because we get a global access. I can deploy the model anywhere across the world. I can access the model via API, through API. The another important aspect, so it is a customized, I can give a name, I can change it. Okay. And so I can say that TPM, token per minute. So this is 8K is the maximum token per minute that I can consume while I'm doing the conversation with this particular model. Okay. And yes, I can go and create this deployment of this particular model. So GPT-4 model is going to be deployed behind my API. And now we are going to test this particular model from a chat GPT kind of playground that we are going to get. It's like a chat bot that what we are talking about. So similar kind of playground that we are going to get. It is being built by Microsoft, but we can also create our own. If you are a Python developer or a .NET or Java developers, you can develop that kind of chatbot for your own also. I'll show you that how you can do that. Creating is taking a bit of time, so let me wait until this got created. Okay, Pradeep, what you're asking, suppose an application is developed by model one and in the future the model will be expensive, then yes, you can change the model. You can definitely plug in with the different models. In fact, behind the API, you can deploy multiple models. You just to name the model that you want to use. Yes. So if use a different model, if it is yes, then what is the probability for correct output or enhancement possibility? I didn't understand the second part, but according to my understanding, you can change the model if you feel that your current model is pretty expensive. You can go back to the old model, but you have to compromise with the credibilities because you always pay more to get more, right? So nothing will come for free. So if you're trying to use something which you need it, yeah, so but you are trying to use it for free, so that is not going to happen. So you have to pay. So both you are not going to get. Okay. All right. So that is one. I may go and maybe deploy some other models. So let me see. I'll try with some other models by opening a new Foundry portal. It is taking a bit of time. Okay, it's deployed now. So this is deployed. I can also deploy more models. So it is not only one model I'm deploying. So I can see now in the deployment sections which model I have deployed. All right, so I have deployed in the Sweden Centrals. So this model, I can also add more model into the deployment. So I can say, okay, I want to deploy one more model like dull E, right? So I'll go and deploy this model also, or I can go and deploy. I just need to pick up the model at the time of doing the conversation. So I can experiences with, I can practice with all the models. So if you feel like the model one or model two would be best suited for you with the price and the cost that you would be paying, then go with that model. But you can always test with the alternate models to get a kind of or to analyze the model performance, the model credibilities, and pick up the right models and go with that models. Okay, so this is also being deployed. So I can go to the deployment. I can see two model got deployed. Dull E3 also being deployed. It is deployed in some other places. Globally, we are deploying. So dull E3 is deployed in some other places, and my GPT-4 is being deployed in some other places. So you can go and take a look. The services. So we'll get two more services. Central Sweden, where we have gone and deployed a GPT-4. So I'll go to the playground from that service that I can make use of this. I'll open in a different tab. So I have got the GPT-4 here, and I have got dull E3. So two different service, two different models, but we can have more than one model from the same service because of my model not availability under that particular reasons or my subscription. That's why we are going globally, but it is not needed. You can deploy more than, suppose I'll try and deploy more than one models here itself in Sweden, Switch Central. So let me see which model is available. I can get it in the list. So if I want to deploy this, yes, we get it Sweden Central. So there is another models that can be deployed. Now you can evaluate between these two models. So which the mini that you want to use or a GPT-4 that you want to use while you are going into the playground. So let's go and test with this model. Okay, so that is something that what we are going to do the testing. Just a minute. Okay, one more minute. Okay, so now I'm going to open the playground from here. So suppose I want to go with the GPT-4 or not, I can directly go to my playground here. So this is the playground that I can access, and I can see both the model that I have deployed so far. So I can pick up which model that I want to do the conversation here. Okay. So now before I do the conversation, because this is the place from where I'm going to do the conversation, before I start doing the conversation, I can set the context to the LLM, to the model, that what kind of conversation that we are going to have. And this is part of the prompt engineering. And this is called system message. So we can set a system message to set the context of the conversation that we are going to have. So I can go and make a very generic statement. Suppose say you are a generic AI assistant. You help people by generating new content. So this is the kind of system message. So I'm making it very, I apply the changes. I say that you are a very generic AI assistant. You can ask any questions, right? So that is what the system message is all about. So we can be very specific. We'll see that how we can make a specific, which is part of the prompt engineering, because this is going along with the prompt, the context, to tell the LLM that you are supposed to align the conversation in this context. You're not supposed to respond something different. But here we are not aligning with a particular one. We are making it very generic. You are an generic AI assistant. You help people by generating new content. So I can go and ask any questions. Like, for example, I said hello to greet it, because that is the NLP used, natural language, that I can use how we converse with our colleagues, how we converse with our friend. How can I assist you today? So I'm going with C. So this is a very generic message that we get from here. So you can go and suppose write some kind of prompt to generate a content. So here you say, you are a professional copywriter working for a luxury perfume. So I could have used this one in my system message to make that context. The context is that yes, you are a professional copywriter working for a luxury perfume brand or luxury kind of some brand or a product. And now you say write a engaging Instagram post that evoke emotions and describe the fragrance experience in poetic way. Like it is just a prompt. That is the prompt that we are writing at this moment. But we are not making it specific. We are going it generic. And then I just put this prompt. So it will start generating the content for me. So I can go and change this. And apply the change. Okay. Now the new conversation has started. Now we go and write the same prompt. Or I can start with the hello, suppose. Now look at the conversation started with. It is not just a generic message that we get. How can I assist you today? Are you looking for a new signature scan? So perhaps the gift in someone special. So it means it will lead you to the conversations on what context that you set by setting a system message. This is the prompt engineering. You have engineered the prompt to align the LLM with the particular directions and start doing conversations in that directions. Okay, and now you can go and write the same prompt that here we have written in the previous one. So you're going to get an original content which is not exactly like what is being generated in the previous one. So you are going to get more professional content this time because you made the LLM specific to this particular. So you can define the role for the LLM. You can define the context for the LLM. That is part of the prompt engineering. You can define the style of the LLM. So in this context, role is the copywriter. Context is a luxury perfume. Style is the poetic, sensory language. And the intent is an Instagram post. So you collectively broken your prompt to those technical terminology that I am talking about. The role, context, style, and intent you put together to create. So this is an art of writing prompt, and that is what we call as a prompt engineering. And it is going to be helped by the system message that what we saw right from here. Now there are some kind of template also you can go and use. So there is a templates. You can say, suppose I want a template for a marketing assistant. So I'll just use this template. Now take a look. This is a template you can read out. You are a marketing writing assistant. You help come up with creative content idea and content like marketing, email, blogs, post, tweet, ad copy, and product description. You write in a friendly yet professional tone, but can be tailored. Your writing style that best work because it's put everything inside. It's talking about the tone of the conversations, talking about the context of the conversations, talking about the personalities, how you supposed to get the response. And if you are asking something out of the context, it will say if you do not know the answer, that is basically out of the context. Respond by you say, I do not know the answer that you are questioning. So let's get started with this. Suppose you started with hello now. How can I assist you? Suppose you are asking out of the out of scopes. How I something like this. Okay. So you get this instructions out there. But here if you see, you can add if you can change it if not asking questions related to email writing, you say, I don't know the answer of your question. Okay, so hello, you can start with this now. So you have given, so we will be going and asking this one question. So here we say, I don't know your answer. So you can control that, although the models knows everything, because this model was trained on the public data. It can give you any answer, but through the system message, through the prompt engineering, it is part of the prompt engineering. You can do the restrictions, align the conversation with your customers that you are going to ask only. You can also give a message. So you're supposed to ask only questions related to the email campaign, not related to anything else apart from the email campaign as a marketing assistant. Okay. So this is something what you can do. And apart from that, you can also get your own data. Like for example, I will remove everything out there, apply the changes. Suppose you say you are a travel agent. You assist on travel related queries. So that is what. So now I can say hello. So how can I assist you? So travel plan today. Now I can say I would be next week. Where shall I stay? Okay. So you did not mention about the hotel, but you can just simply go and say, according to the knowledge of this particular model, so it is going to bring me the list of the hotel where we can stay. And categorically, it will go and give you from the knowledge of this particular LLM GPT-4 at this moment. Okay. But what we can do, suppose I'm I'm going to create a chatbot for a travel agent. A travel agent may tie up with a few hotel. So when people will ask through that chatbot, only that list of the hotel has to come in here. So what we can do in that to control with your own private data. So there is an option called add your own data. Add data source. Just give me a minute. Okay. So you can go and get your own data. That is the use cases that I'm talking about at this moment that you can do it. So by getting your data. So for that, we need to configure multiple things. We need a storage account where we have to upload that particular PDFs or the Word documents. And then we have to kind of create a kind of a service called AI search. The moment your query goes, moment your prompt goes, it will go and fetch the data from that documents and get back to the LLM, and LLM is going to generate the response saying that these are the hotel that you supposed to stay only, not like the hotel that is coming directly from the models, writes the knowledge. So you can control the response of an LLM from your own data. And this is something what we call as a retrieval augmented generations, called RAG in short form. Right? So this is how we can control, as I said, on your own data. So in this training, I'm not going to go and do that. I'm just giving you the input how we can converse with the LLM by producing or by giving the own data that that I do not want the list of this hotel, so I want the list of hotels that is being tied up with this particular agent through which I'm asking this particular questions. So the business wise, you can also create your own chatbot by uploading the data. So there is something called vector database in the field of generative AI where the data can be stored in a form of vectors. The vector is a numeric representation of your text, image, and the videos. LLM can process those from a vector database and craft the response and give it to the end user based on the prompt. If the prompt is not known to the original LLM. So we can override by our own data. That is the point that we are talking about. So in the case of prompt engineering, so we can make use of our own data, or we can fine tune the model also with our own data. There is another option. So recreating the model, retraining the existing model, that is also possible. There is a tool you can see called fine tuning. Right? So which model can be fine tuned? So I can fine tune this model. So I can go to the next. So I have to get the data for the fine tuning. So I have to upload the data. Suppose my model. So here I can say SDFC model, something like that. So I'm going to train the existing GPT model with my own data from the HDFC bank to do the fraud detections, to the customer, to generate the customer behaviors. So I have to go and get the data, the customer data of the HDFC bank, and ask the model to learn from the data. And then I can do the conversations, generate any content for any kind of decision making, things that we are going to use or whatever it may be. Okay, so I'm giving both the techniques through which you can personalize that models to your own context. The personalizing the entire conversations with your own data. One is the fine tuning by retraining the existing model. Another is the RAG by producing your data to the conversations that is happening between the end user and the LLM. So in between, so we can produce our own data. So those data would be considered when the LLM is going to respond anytime from now. Okay, so now I'm going to go and talk about bit of prompt engineering. So let me just go back. So what are the basic concept of the prompt engineering that you need to know? So here we go with. So prompt engineering is a practice of designing, refining and optimizing a text-based instruction that is prompt to guide the generative AI models. It combines the arts and the science together. So it means how effectively you will be able to write the prompt that will come under the subject of prompt engineering, what we are looking at this moment. Why the prompt engineering matters? Because it enhances the efficiencies, improve accuracies, drive innovations. Okay, can we protect the data submitted by us so that other users do not get access to it? Of course, like, so see, I am working on Azure. So subscription that I am having under my model I have deployed, I can only access this data. Nobody else can access my data. But the yes, but your application that you are going to give it to everyone, right? But access to the data is given to only you because you are going to upload the data. It is within your own subscription. You will control the data. You will update the data because the owner of the data would be you within your own infrastructure, within your own storage account, within your own subscription, within your own virtual network, private network. So it is completely protected, completely secure, the data that LLM is going to use to respond to the rest of the user. The key component of the prompt engineering, so we have to write the prompt with the clarities. We have to set the context by setting like we did by using a system message, right? So it could be an industry specific, audience specific, or maybe some kind of validation and constraint. I can set some rules saying that you can only going to give answer related to this, related to that, and so on and so forth. Right? So this is the core component or maybe the core concept of the prompt engineering you have to keep in mind every time while you write the prompt, because how effectively you write the prompt, based on that you are going to get the response. You can just always see, but there are some techniques the prompt engineering has introduced, starting with the zero sort or a few sort prompt. Zero shot is something like you simply go and write a prompt without giving any example how the LLM is supposed to respond. But you can also give an example along with the prompt. So LLM will learn from the example and try to respond accordingly by looking at the example. That is few sorts prompt engineering techniques that you can see at this moment. There is another techniques called chain of thoughts, like step by step you can ask the LLM to explain something. Okay, maybe you have some kind of interdependent steps to be generated. So you go always do a step by step. Okay, so that is also a technique that you can use while you are writing a prompt from your chatbot applications. Role promptings. So you can tell the LLM to become an engineer or a consultant, or maybe business analyst, or maybe a developers. So your LLM can play a role of a Python developer or a .NET developer to generate the code. So we talk about the system messages in the Azure OpenAI that we can set explicitly. Right, so to kind of work with those techniques to make it more effective a prompt. So let's quickly look at few of the techniques that we can use from the playground itself. Okay, so what questions that you were asking? Do our token get consumed while we give a prompt to a chatbot or a consumer? No, both. The prompt plus response, both is going to be calculated in the token. That's what we saw in the pricing. Suppose you missed it. In the pricing, input was there also, output was also there. The input was in the price of like $2.5, $50, like for GPT-4o for 1 million token. The output was something like 10 point something $5 for 1 million token. Right? At the time of deploying a model, we can see the pricing also, how this model is going to be used. Okay, so I'll come back to this model. So here, just to and I will go with a system message, something like this. So here I said, you are an intelligent AI assistant designed to provide the clear, concise, and accurate information. Always prioritize the clarities, accuracy, and practical usability in your response. That is the instruction that we have. We can write a prompt something like this. This is the zero shot prompt. Summarize the key themes of an attached financial report. So I can attach a financial report by just clicking on this button. I can give this report to the LLM and then ask this question. Or I can right, so I can go and write something, some example also. Here is an example I can give. So if user is going to encounter this kind of situation, so we will say positive. right? So we can add more example. Save. So we are going to say, and I'll say negative here. So assistant will say negative here. So I can give an example to learn from by the LLM. So here we can say neutral or something like this. This is called few sorts that we say. So I'm giving, so all this example is being set and I can apply the changes with an example. So now I'm going to give, it is all about some kind of sentiment analysis that we are talking about. I said the stuff were friendly, but wait time too long. So how the LLM will be anticipating whether it would say negative, positive or neutral. So let me see what is being based on the example that I have set. So let me just go and ask this. He said mixed. So it is neutral. Right? So that is something that you are so classifying your customer. So you can use a chain of thought also, something like this. So I can remove all the example from there. Apply the changes. And then I go with, so solve this math problem step by step. So let's see how the step by step the response is going to come for me. See, that is what happening. Okay, so like a role playing that we are talking about, something like this. I can write from here itself in the prompt itself, act as a travel advisor and suggest a detailed 3-day itinerary for tourists visiting in Rome for the first time. Right? So you can get this, or you can do some kind of multitasking also. These are different techniques, that way of writing the prompt. This is called multi-step task. First do this, then do this, eventually you do that. So you can write the prompt, because that techniques that you have to inculcate going forwards if you want to use the generative AI in your own context. So prompt become a very critical part for getting relevant response from the LLM, what we are discussing at this moment. So hope you got the insight of this, what we are talking about. So with that, we are going to wind up this today's session here. So if you have any questions, we have a couple of minutes more to go. And I would like to thanks everyone for joining this session. So hope you got an insight to this generative AI along with the prompt engineering. Okay, so there is a question. So if you have any questions, so please do ask. Does giving example to LLM also consume token? Yes, of course, everything goes will consume the token. All right. So please fill the feedback form that is being shared with you for this training. So it was a quick, brief training about generative AI. So recapping this, we started with the AI ecosystem, traditional AI and generative AI. Then we are getting into the actual implementation of generative AI by using pre-trained model from the Microsoft Azure cloud platforms. Then we talk about the techniques that we need to learn to write an effective prompt. Then I have also kind of bring you the details about how you can use your own data, how you can train your own models. That is also a kind of part of this discussion what we are having at this moment. So thank you once again.
Yes, thank you to our esteemed speaker, Navjyoti sir, for sharing his expertise, value, and valuable insights with us. Well, participants, don't. Hello, am I audible to everyone? Please don't forget to fill the feedback form. I have dropped the URL in chat box. Please share your valuable insights on this webinar by filling the feedback form. And after filling the feedback form, you can leave the session.